Hi everyone, welcome to the Food Garden at Lansdowne Centre. Today we're going to be doing a second cooking demonstration and we're making a zucchini corn fritter. I'm Ian Lai, I'm the Executive Director with the Urban Bounty. We used to be known as the Richmond Food Security Society, and just want to acknowledge that we're working, living and playing on the unceded territorial lands of the Hunkaminam people. We're going to be harvesting some beets for a salad, and we can also incorporate some of the greens into that with our zucchini corn fritter. And these are golden beets, so I'm just going to pull that out. Just perfect for a little salad. We will be using all of this, and we also need to harvest some zucchini. Beautiful product here. What excites me most are the squash blossoms. Usually I'll collect a lot of these and make a ravioli. So unfortunately there are only two, and we need them to be turned into baby zucchinis. Under here is a nice size zucchini that I'm going to cut and use in our recipe. The last thing we need for our recipe today is some basil. Here's a bed of basil that is so flush, full of beautiful herbs that are so fragrant. We just need maybe 2 stems of this. And we have everything for our dish today. Now we're back inside, and we will be making the zucchini corn fritter. And we will be starting off by grating the zucchini because they need to be dried out a little bit. So we'll grate it and then we'll squeeze out the excess water. And while that is happening, we'll be preparing some of the vegetables. I have on my stove here some oil that we're going to shallow fry the fritters in. So first thing is I'll just take the zucchini, everything's been washed. Take a box grater, I'll just trim off the ends. And we'll just grate that zucchini in. Mind your fingers. So when you have a zucchini plant, you'll end up having so much product, you'll end up wondering what to do with it. So zucchini is really nice to make zucchini bread, it's good to make muffins, it's great to make fritters. Sometimes I even dice them up and dehydrate them. So it's a really nice thing to have for throughout the year. So at the end, don't worry about that little nubbin, we can use it for something else. So we have a green zucchini, we also have some yellow zucchinis. So it's really nice to just change up the color and add a different aspect to the dish. Even as I do this, there's water draining out of the bottom of the box grater. All right. So we have these beautiful colors, golden, yellow, and green, and we will just add a pinch of salt into this and let it sit for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to mix it up. And what will happen, the salt will draw out some of that moisture, and afterwards we'll squeeze it dry with a towel. The next thing we need to do is we need to chop up the rest of the vegetables. We have some beautiful corn from Chilliwack. It was just there last week. Chilliwack corn is so fresh, so sweet. I can even eat this raw. So a lot of times in a salad, I won't even cook this corn. I'll just shuck it and I will take the kernels out and add it into a salad. It's so sweet. So I think we're going to need about 2 ears of corn. All the recipes will be on the lansdowne-centre.com website, and you don't need to take notes as we're doing this. So we want to take out all these excess little hairs from the corn. And we'll just put that on the side. Usually break the corn in half. This way I have a stable surface on which to take off the kernels. The beets that we harvested, we will actually use some of the leaves in this fritter mixture just to add a little bit of color as well as not being wasteful with what we harvested. Corn kernels are great to add into soup stock. I'll keep these and I'll collect them in the freezer When I have a bag full of it, I will add it into some vegetables and make a broth out of that, and that's a really nice stock to have. You'll need another bowl to start adding all your vegetables in. So I have my corn. Next, I'll dice my onion up, and I have some garlic in there as well. The basil that we harvested from the garden is also beautiful. So this is that beautiful beet that we harvested. I'm just going to take some of the leaves, and I will just chop that up into little strips. Add that in with my corn. We also have this beautiful basil, and it is going to be just the leaves. These stem pieces I'll use for my stock as well, so I'll save it with my corn cobs. Take that and just slice it really thinly. Add that into my bowl of vegetables. I also have an onion. I like using a sweet onion. Some recipes actually ask you to cook off the vegetables, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's an extra step. If you're using yellow onions, they may be a little bit more pungent, so if it's not a flavor that you prefer, I use a sweet onion instead. Nice small dices is fine. They don't have to be perfect. Those onions go in. We'll add some cracked pepper. And we'll take some garlic as well. A little garlic press. Squeeze it in. So these are the vegetables that we'll use in the fritter. The zucchini has been sitting for a while now. And if I hold it up and squeeze it, there's lots of liquid that drains out of it. This is fine. What I'll do now is I'll just put this into a towel and squeeze it all out. So then I don't have as much water, because we are shallow frying this, and water and hot oil are not the best mix. So you can use a kitchen towel, and basically you're just taking it and squeezing it. And now we have the zucchini. It's nice and dry. We'll take this and we'll just mix it gently. It's endless what kind of vegetables you can add into this. You could put shredded carrots, you could put beets, you could put daikon if you wanted to. We are going to combine this with a little bit of cornmeal and a little bit of flour. If you have gluten intolerances, you could use gluten-free flour. It doesn't use a lot of flour, so it's only about half a cup. So this bowl is the vegetable mix. We need to make a mix that has the dry ingredients. So the dry ingredients call for cornmeal, calls for flour. This is unbleached flour. I'm going to add some salt into this dry ingredients. And we need to add some baking soda. So it's about a 1/4 teaspoon. If you add too much baking soda, it just makes it bitter. And you will mix this, stir it around just to incorporate everything. We have our bowl of vegetables, we have our dry ingredients. Now we need to make our wet ingredients. Take 1 egg, crack it into the bowl. We'll use buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk, you can just use regular milk. And I'll just whisk this up. All right. Just a reminder that all the recipes are on lansdowne-centre.com. On that website will also be information on the food garden, and you can also learn about what Urban Bounty, which we used to be Richmond Food Security Society, is doing with all the food. Basically, we're taking the excess food that is grown at the garden and turning them into meals for the community. So it's a really good way to collaborate and build partnerships and just to make sure that everyone in the community benefits from a project like this. I'll move on to making the beet salad. It's already washed. I'm not even going to peel it. I will just take off that little root end. I will also be using a carrot, again, washed organic carrot that we're not going to peel. We will use a little bit of yogurt. It's a very sweet dish, so I'm not going to add any more sweeteners. I'll add some pumpkin seeds. I'll add some shredded coconut and just a little bit of pepper into that. I'll take my beets, same box grater. Grate the beet. Grate my carrot. Beautiful colors right here. I'll add some coconut, pumpkin seeds, some cracked pepper, and you could use sour cream, you could use yogurt. This basically is just to wet it and combine everything. So this is what we will use to kind of dollop on top of the fritters when they're ready. So this is ready to use. We have our vegetables, our dry mixture, and our wet mixture. The fry pan is on, it's on medium. What we'll do is we'll add the dry ingredients into the vegetables. Get that all mixed in. And then we'll add our wet mixture into the vegetables. Just enough so that everything sticks together. Gently folding it over. So you'll end up with something that is nicely combined. It's not going to be dense and heavy. I'll take a little spoon of this, and depending on what size you want to make them, I like to make them about this size. I'll just slide them in. And I'll depress it in the center a little bit. These fritters are great because you can make them ahead of time. They can be served at room temperature. You could also freeze them and use them at a later time and just need to reheat them in a little toaster oven. They make great little sandwiches too. So we'll add that in. Maybe a little bit of splattering. It's quite normal with deep frying or shallow frying. And you want to fry them for about 4 minutes on each side or until they're golden brown. Once they're in, just let them do its thing. Just relax and watch it slowly bubble away. You can see on the first one that I made, the edges are starting to brown a little bit. And I'll use a little spatula here to help me turn it over. So don't take a pair of tongs and try to flip it. It's a little bit dangerous because you're using hot oil. And when I'm going to turn it away from me. Beautiful golden brown color there. That's the color I'm looking for. This one is, I'm going to move that around. This was my second one. There we are. And you would do this in batches. Some people like to put it in the oven to bake instead of fry. That works too if you're conscious of using too much oil. Sometimes when you put it into the oven, they don't crisp up as nicely. I'm just using a corn oil. You could use canola oil. I wouldn't use a heavy oil like an olive oil. I just find that a corn oil is quite light and it doesn't absorb too much if you have the right temperature. So it's nicely golden brown on both sides. I'll just take that and I want to drain it onto a paper towel. The paper towel will absorb some of the excess oil. We have our first batch here. Got these beautiful fritters. We're just going to overlap them on top of each other. And we have our beet and carrot, I'd probably call it like a slaw. I'll just put it over the top of that. It's a nice little wet condiment to have with our dish. And we'll finish it off with our beautiful blossom that we harvested earlier today. So just a reminder that the recipe can be found on Lansdowne-Centre.com. So as we move into the fall, we will have one more cooking demonstration in September. Stay tuned and check the website. And you can always come and visit the food garden at Lansdowne Centre. Have a safe summer, and we will see you again in September.